Well, if you want everyone to take a seat, so I can see all your faces. So I know we have a Q&A as well, and before we do that, I just want to talk to you guys a little bit. So all you guys are amazing coaches, right? We're coaches. For some of you who isn't a coach here? Wow. Okay. Who's been invited? Who's their first Super Weekend? Wow.
First Super Weekend VIP.
Everyone who showed up and invited people to show up and be a part of this experience. Today we're going to show up and show out. One of my favorite things to say. But before we begin, I'm going to talk about being you. Being your most authentic you. And there's a message that if you guys made it to some of my body workouts this week, body, my goals. I talked about being faithful to the process and surrendering to the outcome. And so I think that's super important. The process of us, who we are as people, we're constantly growing, we're constantly learning. We have to be a perpetual student because in this life, we're constantly going to go through this. Ups and downs, and we're going to have to learn how to maneuver through that. We're going to have to discover ourselves. So, if he's going to be here distracting me, I might as well. One time. All right, so being a student to ourselves, always being this eternal learner, because how we feel on the inside will express how we look at life externally. So guys, I don't know how your business is going this year. I don't know how your family and your relationships are going this year, but you can change those things, right? If we focus on us and how we respond to these situations. So again, the process of whatever it is, maybe you're doing this because it's your full-time job, or maybe this is a part-time job, or maybe you're trying to get out of your full-time job and make this a part-time job or a full-time job. And so if you are going through this process, I'm gonna tell you this, it's not easy, right? My job's not easy. And so one of the things that I've learned continuously is I can't worry about the external stuff, the noise. I have to just focus on within me. I have to focus on what I can do to get better. So number one for me was becoming a better communicator. Like if I can speak and I can talk to someone, if I can get someone to understand the message that I'm trying to portray, then I know that alone can move mountains. There's a saying, if you give me enough space and leverage, I can flip the world. And all we want is just a little bit of space, right? But we gotta be able to create our own leverage. And creating our own leverage is being as authentic to you. There never will be another Amoila. There'll never be another Shanti. There'll never be another Autumn or Joel. And the reason why we're in these positions is because we are so unique to who we are. We stay true to ourselves. We lean into ourselves. You know, instead of trying to be like everyone else and trying to do what our neighbor is doing, we focus on what makes it go for us. Like you think about the best athletes in the world, the Serena Williams, the LeBron James, Messi, right? You want to think about these amazing athletes. At a young age, they knew who they were. At a young age, they leaned into them. They never changed. They stayed until what was true to them, so then it was hard to replace them. So I've made this analogy before. There's two circles. Here's a circle with Sean, Amoila, and Messi. I'll put myself with all that greatness and a lot of greatness in the circle. And here's this circle. We got all these common people. And in this circle, you're easily replaced. But in this circle, there's only three of us, and it's so hard to replace us. And so when you think about moving Amoila, it's like, oh, we're never gonna have another Amoila like that. So like creating that thing for you, being you and staying true to you is the most beautiful thing that you can do because it's gonna help your business. It's gonna help you talk to people. It's gonna help you sell. If you guys are in the sales industry, it's the greatest industry in the world. As a trainer, I'm a seller. I have to sell movement to you. I have to sell practice of eating better. I have to sell motivation to you. So as I started as a pup into this industry, I realized that I can't be like everyone else. I'm gonna come up with my corny sayings, yams, big toes, sweatology, Amoilology, Amoila way in. I hate all these weird sayings, but in the end, the message is coming to you guys. You guys are starting to understand it. So, being so true to you is the key. Be a perpetual student. Always pick up a book. A tree never stops growing, so you should never stop growing. Continue to keep wanting to share your gift. Like, especially if you've learned so much, right? We've spent our lives trying to discover what our why is. Then we develop it. But if you're not sharing your gift, then you're doing a world of a displacement. You're not doing anything. So you have to share your gift. And so as I'm here, I'm sharing my gift, the words. I'm gonna share some sweat with y'all. I'm gonna swear some laughs and share some laughs. And it's gonna be fun. So I'm gonna leave this open for some Q&As because I know we have some Q&As. Some of you guys have some questions. Anyone has a question? Wait, before we get there, someone tried to airdrop me something.
Watch it start dying.
This is why it's so funny. I can't use my phone until I accept it or decline it, but the weird thing is, I'm kind of wanting to accept it. But at the same time, I'm like, I probably shouldn't open this. So, I don't know, whoever it was, y'all can decline that. It's funny. I want to. It's 4 photos. Don't act like you don't know who it is. And I'm not going to call that person out. So, questions? Anyone? All right. Any new workouts? I just did some workouts on body. So that was 9.
6:45.
Hard workouts. Okay. This is a great question. I don't know if I'm able to speak on this, but if we were to just take a second, you guys see that there's the new body blocks and the super blocks and all these trainers. Have they put out the official schedule?
So read between the lines.
Exactly. Keep
Read
talking.
between the lines. But of course, you should expect more work from me. I'm excited to be back. I've been gone for 2 years now.
Wow.
2 years for 6:45.
Oh my God.
We're gonna talk about that one time too. 6:45. We're gonna talk about that one time. Yes.
You had stated that you are a different Amoila from when you were 6 weeks of the work Amoila to now, and I noticed that in your social media that you have completely, I won't be completely, you've always been awesome, but you've evolved, and we really know the man who you are behind the athlete, behind the super trainer. How do you see yourself as having progressed, and how do you share that so easily with everyone?
For me, like I said, we were always going to be a perpetual student, right? And so for me, I think when I had a lot of hardships, like little roadblocks, instead of blaming that situation, I got to look within myself and say, okay, how can I maneuver, or how can I move and grow through this? Like whatever we're going through, nothing in this world is a test, right? You might feel like, man, this motherfucker at work testing me. I might have to, no, it's not a test. It's an opportunity for you to learn who you are, and it's a moment for you to kind of reflect on things. Like I've been saying, like, you know, reflection and perspective is the fertilizer for growth. If you're trying to grow, like family members are tough. I got family members that still stuck back in the day. Like I got a brother who think he grew up like Tupac. I don't know how. And like he just hasn't done enough work to realize, like, man, I'm a product of how I surround myself, the people that I surround myself with, right? And so I realized at a young age, and even now as an adult, like the people that I surround myself with, that exposure affects me. So I started being around better people. I started talking to therapists. I started talking to men. I started talking to women, and started just like really just trying to learn and grow. And so it's funny, man, training and movement has changed my life. Like when I got into training, I got in it for like vanity purposes. And then what it does is it takes you down this journey. You know, I've had pain through injury, and I've just had like these moments of like things weren't understanding for me, and then I just started like diving deeper in myself. And so that's how my training, that's how my mindset started to shift. But if you don't take that moment to reflect then it's going to be very hard for you. So if you got a family member that think they're Tupac, do a little reflection. You know? That's what my brother is. All of them think that. Yes.
Had to get out now. When you speak about your young self, I'm raising two athletes, okay, 2-year-old and 11-year-old, 2 football stars, 2 track stars. So what would you encourage, me being a single mother, what could I say to them for them to actually be their authentic self and stand out?
Well, you know, at that age, you can't say anything. Ego is going to be their biggest enemy. You know, at that age, you couldn't tell me nothing. I thought I was him from him University. But what I will tell you is this, that young man, whatever you're going through, I won't have the answers for you, but you will have to take a time in your life to start asking, the actions that you put out there in the world is going to be your identity. People are going to know you for that. So if you show up to practice late, people are going to just look at you like you're irresponsible. If you show up early, people are going to look at you as responsible. So the way you treat your friends, your word is everything, your word is bond. So just teaching them the integrity of their word and try to be true to who they are, but at the same time, try to have some staples, try to have some principles, and don't live by feelings, because when I was younger, my mood will affect everything. It'll affect my moves. If I was angry at mom, if I was angry at a girlfriend, it just affected me in school, it affected me with everything. If I was angry at my dad, it affected me. So I just think that having these disciplines and these principles that you live by, these mantras that you live by, can help them. And so, but again, it's hard, because I got nieces and nephews, they think they better than me. One day, young grasshopper. They'll get there. And you just hope that you can put these little rails to just make sure they don't go too far, but they have enough room to bounce around and fall a few times to figure it out. So you can facilitate it, but you can't really force them to do anything. So that's my opinion. I don't have no kids, but y'all let me know if that's I would assume that way. Yes. Yes.
Okay. I have 2 questions actually. First of all, as someone who appreciates a good body, I have a personal question. What do the 3 stripes on your arms?
Oh my God.
Oh.
$1 million question. I haven't told anyone because one day I'm going to sell my secrets. It's going to be worth a lot. Marks on my arm are 3 losses: my mom, my grandmother, and my brother. So that's what they are on this arm. This, on this side, the 3 blocks, I was just trying to match it. If I'm being honest, but I'm not finished. So when I finish this, it'll all come together. But this are the 3 losses in my life. So are you guys happy? Because that's a question that has been asked for years. I think this is the first time I've answered that.
And my next question is, because I appreciate a beautiful body.
She's the airdropper.
I've noticed all of your movements and all, your flow. Are you going to do something that relates to that with body? Or is that another secret?
Y'all just selling on. Okay, yes, I will be introducing a lot more of animal ground.
Yes, sir.
But again, it's not easy. Some people are gonna love it. Some people not. But I tell important. So I will be incorporating that because it's the fountain of youth. I don't think people understand the benefits of it. But just pay attention to your kids. As you're watching your kids, the vestibular system is trying to figure out how to balance their head. They're trying to figure out how to balance their core. They're trying to figure out how to walk. So it's the same thing. As we get older, we start to lose those things, right? Age is inevitable, but we can slow it down. And so one of the things that I've learned from doing animal flow, which I used to scoff at, like yoga and things that just didn't look like weightlifting, what I found was that I was a fool, right? But the cool thing was my persistence to folly in that has led me to be wise. So then I started to realize, oh, there's so many benefits to this. And then I continued to keep doing it, and it took me a couple of years to really start mastering it. But once you start rolling around on the ground, like, I promise you there's something magical in that. And you'll feel safe, you'll feel in control. So if you were to tuck, drop, and roll, you can just get right. I do want to talk about 645 real quick, and then we can leave it up for more questions. I believe that 645 is a program that should be an annual staple. Yeah. Like it's just a program that progresses you. But what it does, what a lot of people don't realize is it's the bonus workouts, it's the corrective exercises that are designed to make you feel better, to optimize yourself. We use that word so many times. We talk about how programs can make you feel awesome. It's not about what you lose in this program, it's all about what you gain. And so it's like gaining more knowledge, gaining more understanding of your body. And so maybe you've done a program and I've got messages like, I'm on to my next training journey. I just don't feel as great as I did when I did 645.
It's true.
The key to this is, guys, don't stop working on your flexibility and your mobility. Like it's a continuous thing.
Yeah.
Like as you guys are sitting, it's called Davy's Law. What happens is the tissue will remodel, and so your hip flexors will continue to get stiffer as we continue to sit. So what we have to do is constantly remodel the tissue in our body, and so a lot of that comes from just quality movement, finding out what's efficient, and then moving. And I like to say, do something strange for a little bit of range. I'm talking about range, range of motion. But again, see, it's understanding, like, why we do that. So especially if you've done like hard programs all year, for like 40 weeks out of the year, it might be time for you to go ahead and try 645 and start all over again. It's great for anyone, an athlete, an aging athlete. It's good for kids. It's good for anyone that's trying to learn how to move better. So that's just my spiel on it. I ain't trying to sell y'all. I just know it is what it is. Any other questions?
2 more questions. We have time for 2 more questions.
Go ahead, brother.
Who do you go to for coaching? Like you've gotten so far in your life, who do you go to keep the action?
Oh man, so for me, I work in the professional world. So there are some coaches that I just idolize. One of his name is Anthony Chico. He's a athletic director for the Knicks. Yeah. So like I'm around like a lot of great coaches. So for me, my go-to coaches, I would say, are some of the friends that I hang out with outside of Beachbody. I can name a few. One, his name's Mike Guevara. He's a great coach. Mr. Move It. He's a coach for the Pelicans. But I just try to stay around athletic directors, physical therapists, because for me, bodybuilding is great, but that's just such a small dimension to what I'm trying to achieve. And I just find like coaches that have great credibility. I just did a certification called Strong First. I think they're an amazing kettlebell program. What you learn from the art of a kettlebell is insane. Like I almost never want to touch a dumbbell just because there's just so many benefits to a kettlebell. So I have a full list of coaches that I think are amazing.
Bring it to body. Bring it to body.
I will bring it.
One last question. Somebody new.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you for everything that you offer, and I love your mobility. But this question is more for like our men. Like a lot of us have husbands, and they're very motivated to see us working out, but they don't work out. We have some of us have husbands that are overweight, and they lack the motivation. What would you say you would? What words would you give them? Do you have any tips for us wives that want to see our husbands get healthy, but they don't want to follow around
Not married. It's a hard, you know, some of these ladies have some tips. Maybe, you know, y'all seem like they're good.
What do you think is something that will help you get, I mean, you're obviously an expert, like, to get into the routine?
Okay. So I think it's, if someone hasn't worked out in a very long time, and if it's starting it, the action of starting it is hard. It just motivates them to start with like little small actions, 5 minutes, 20 minutes. You know, there's job one that's 20 minutes that you can just get them to move. But I also know, you know, if you look in your best, you start, you know, and you start cooking great, you're looking great, your energy's going up. I don't know about you, but I start. He's starting, right? Yeah. So I think you can influence, you know, like my family, my sister came to spend time with me in New York, and she just didn't realize how active I am. I just move, I walk everywhere. I'll grab a bike, I'll go anywhere. And my sister, when she left, her and her husband, they started calling me like, hey, we just left the gym. I'm like, okay. And then the next day she called me, hey, we just left the gym again. I'm like, okay. And then she kept going, and I didn't realize that I was leading by example. And so for me, just being so in love with what I do, that it's contagious, that it rubs off on people. Like, some people think it's a job for me. This is just who I am. And so your passion will rub off. I promise you that it'll help. So, and then yeah.